So our first test is very basic. We're just making sure that when we pass an empty string to the wrap function, we get back an empty string. And that is exploding because we don't yet have a wrap function. And now we're green. We're passing. Now we just want to test that if we pass in a word that's shorter than the column, we get back that word. Wrap shouldn't do anything to it. And that is red. And we're passing that now. So now we're just going to test to see if there's a space before the column, we probably want to wrap at it. So let's go ahead and do that. And that is red. And we're green again. That was probably a bit too quick of a switch, but if you caught that. And let's try multiple words. And we're green on that too. Great. Well, so what if I want to wrap at the second space? So we have, say, 3 words, and we want to wrap after the second word. So let's see, we've got a word here that's 4 letters, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the space here is at 10. That's the column length we want. So let's just say 11. And we're expecting just 2 lines to be returned by the wrap function. And unfortunately, we got red and it's returning 3 lines. Each word is on its own line. So we need to handle that case where the space is later in the string. We don't necessarily want to wrap on every single space. Let's try that. No, we're still doing the same thing. We're failing that. It looks like we're stuck in an infinite loop. Even worse. There's got to be a way to do it, but Trying to think of how to accomplish that. Whew, man, that's a lot more failures. We have five examples and 3 failures there. Not sure what to do here at this point. Could try some other things. Probably want to revert the R index though, because that's clearly making things break. Now we're still stuck. Well, at this point, we can try and think of what else we can do, but we're really doing a lot of guessing. And we know that one of the things is if we're doing a lot of guessing, we might be doing the wrong tests. So let's revert our tests. Let's start over. In the interest of time, I'm going to revert all the way back to the first 2 tests. So we're just going to have those first ones, the empty string and a single word. I'm not going to delete everything because we don't have unlimited time today. And let's make sure that that's passing. And we are. Okay. So I think what we want to do is probably start a little bit earlier in this whole process and ignore spaces and just start at the column length. So let's work with column. So we're just splitting a line of 6 characters into 2 lines of 3 characters with a column length of 3. And we have red on that, we're failing. I'm going to turn this into explicit return just so it's a little clearer. And we're going to say and that's going to get us to the end of the line. And that's green, so we're passing. So what if that string is a bit longer and we're still wrapping at 3? So now we have 3 lines there. And we're failing again, we're just doing a single wrap. But we can just make it recursive here. And we're green again. Okay. I think at this point we can probably start worrying about spaces again. So let's try the basic case. And we're failing. So we're ignoring that space. Let's go up here and try and figure it out. So we're going to do an if-else here on space. So we're going to take our original code here that handles the non-space columns and put it down at the bottom. And let's take our space up here. Fortunately, it's going to wrap because the lines are a bit long, but and hey, there we go. Now we're passing that case. We did a copy and paste, and we have that recursive function, so I just want to make sure that we handle that it's still going to work for 3 words. And it is. Great. So the other thing that we want to handle is the case where that space is either at the comm line, before it, or after it. So we got at least 3 more tests that I'd like to do. And let's just start with the space being at the column. So we're looking here, and we've got our string with 2 words in it. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the column length that we're particularly interested in this test. Let's see what happens there. So that passed. So at the column length passes. Let's check before the column length. Sorry, that was let's check before the column length. I noticed my voice was dropping off. And that fails in a kind of interesting way. If you see this output up here, let's take a look. I think the problem is we probably really want to handle where the space is anywhere. It's actually the space when it's right after the column length. So let's just take this out. Now we're going all the way up to and including the column length. So actually the column plus 1, oh, excuse me, and that's passing. And now let's check the case where it's after. Actually, I think we already have this test up above, so we don't have to duplicate it. So that's all working successfully. I think we're in a good spot. I probably should exit this when I'm doing the actual kata, so I don't do that. But we've got all our tests passing. We could look at refactoring this code as if-else. And there's a couple of approaches we could take there, but in the interest of time, I'm probably going to end at this point. Micah, this is where I'm going to drop out and say, so up to this point, it's taken a while. I have an example of refactoring it where we get a before and an after method to extract the string portions. And let me show you that. I'm just going to pause this for a minute so I can review that for just a second.